Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. Hey everyone, I am here today live with Sabrina, and I'm going to let you say your last name. Can you say your last name?
Del Duca.
Del Duca. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to mess it up. So anyways, Sabrina and I had a lovely time on your podcast, which is called
Get Into Flow.
Get Into Flow. And she is someone who is very credible to talk about confidence, because if you want to tell us your story, we can get into it. But before we do, I just want to share, we're going to talk about how you can be more confident in your business and your personal brand and sharing and being visible and exposed. Because as a business owner, every day you have to put yourself out there, and every day you have to probably face rejection or scary things. So Sabrina, first, why don't you just share your journey and what got you into talking about confidence?
Yeah, thank you, Hailey. My journey began as a dancer. So I think there we can already lean into the idea of me having to perform, being on stage, being visible. But that was something that carried me through my entire life from when I was a little kid. And then through school, I did all the right things, quote unquote, to be able to get a degree, to then have a full-time job. I went into advertising where I was a client director, and that also involved me being on a stage per se, doing presentations for big clients, traveling. I'm from Canada, I'm in Montreal, but I was traveling often to New York where my clients were big beauty brands, global brands. So it was like a very intense audience, right? High risk, high reward. But I was there very confident, speaking to them about our offers, about our presentations and all that. And I did that for 10 years. I was an advertising director, and it was amazing until it wasn't. And I reached a burnout, which I know a lot of people can relate to. And for me, my burnout was the realization that I was in a position and a career that no longer fulfilled me. And the resistance to that realization led me to burnout, because I was wasting so much energy trying to make it work when I just had to kind of lean in and say, you know what? This chapter is done. And that's okay, because it was amazing. And now let's get on to the next chapter. So this actually coincided with the pandemic, which gave me an opportunity to rest, right? We all had to stop. So it gave me an opportunity to say, okay, let's take this time and see, what do I want to do? And for me, it was always about, how do I help people? How do I help people with what I've been through get there faster, so that they don't have to go through all of the trials and tribulations that I went through? And with my dance background and my teaching background, the instant gratification I would feel when I would teach someone and see that they got the move, and the confidence I would see in their face, in their body position, in everything, that's what I wanted to feel on a daily basis. And so that led me to life coaching, did my certifications, learned as much as I could. And now I am kind of navigating my way to see where exactly can I fit in as a life coach. And the idea of confidence came forward, a confidence coach, because that's what I do for my dance students. And that's what I can do for everyday people just looking for more confidence in their life. And confidence, you may think it came easy to me being a performer, but not necessarily. So I'm excited to dive into that too.
Yeah. So I think a thing that people think often when they see confident people is like, oh, you're just so natural at it, or you're just so naturally talented. But really, it's built up. And also, you can't see, someone may appear confident, but you can't hear what's going on in their head or how nervous they might be on the inside. So tell me a little bit about, how does somebody who maybe feels like, you know what, like putting myself out there, talking about what I do, that kind of stuff makes me very nervous. I don't feel confident being visible. I kind of like to
Mhm,
be in the background. What would
mhm.
you say to somebody like that who really wants to start to get out there?
First of all, I would say totally normal and natural what you're feeling. It's scary to put yourself out there. And then I would dive a little deeper and say, why is that scary? And often it's because we are afraid of the judgment of others. We're afraid that if we put ourselves out there, what we're going to say is not going to be accepted. We're not going to be seen. We're not going to be heard. So that holds us back. That keeps us stuck. So, what I would say from that perspective is remind yourself of your why. Why do you want to show up? What is the message that you're trying to say? And let that become priority and not people's opinions and people's comments. And that's a kind of mindset shift that's worked for me when I wanted to show up, even just online on social media and use my voice. And then in the back of my mind, it was like, oh, what are people going to think? Like, who is she to be talking about this? Right? Like, all this imposter syndrome, all this stuff comes up, which is totally natural, especially if you're diving into something that's new for you. All of these feelings, all of these emotions will come up. But it's reminding yourself of, okay, but what is my purpose? What is it that I want to do? And for me, it's I want to help, I want to inspire people, I want to give information. And it's then to be confident in your message, in your abilities. Because guess what? Everyone's going to have an opinion, whether you like it or not, whether you show up in the most amazing, quote unquote, way that you can be or not. People are still going to have an opinion. So I say, be yourself and embrace yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So if somebody is trying to take their first step out there, like maybe they want to do a live, or they want to do a webinar, or they want to put themselves out there at a networking event, any suggestions about how they prepare for that, how they prepare for the nerves, anything like that?
I always suggest what is the first small step that you can take? And regardless of what the end result is, what is the first step you could take? Is it preparing yourself in terms of writing a script of what you want to say? Some people work better off preparing a script versus just going on and talking with nothing prepared. I would say, yeah, what works for you? But what is that first step? Is it doing a live, but doing like a 2 minute live instead of a 20-minute live? Is it filming a reel and posting that? So what is the smallest version of that step that you can take that feels comfortable enough for you? It's still going to be unfamiliar. It's still going to be stepping out of your comfort zone, but it's kind of like getting you used to going in that direction without just like throwing you in the deep end.
Yeah. I would say at the beginning of my journey, when I started doing lives and videos and all that, I would um, allow myself a rule that if I didn't like it after, I could always delete it. And knowing that, yeah, a couple people might see it live, but really what I find reassuring is no one is paying as much attention to you as you think. And everybody's usually thinking about themselves when they're, even when they're watching you, they're thinking about their own, like, how does this content apply to me? Or, they're not really thinking about you. And even if they are, you don't have to, like, that's going to happen, as you said, no matter what. And
Yeah.
so would you rather live your life hiding, or put it out there for someone, that one person who may find it valuable, and still be advancing your career and have the upside of all of that? Well, people are always thinking about what they want about you anyways. And
So true.
I used to break out. Like, I used to have like a red face and neck, and like turn really red, and my voice would get really dry. And I feel like I had to go through that phase to get through it, because I
Mhm.
realized, oh, I didn't die. Yes, I felt this like gut punch feeling, but I survived, and it wasn't as terrible as I thought. And not as many people were watching as I thought, and it was fine. So I think sometimes too, we can't cheat that. Like we can't avoid that. You're not just gonna, you're first of everything, give yourself permission for it to be bad. And
Yeah.
the sooner you can do that, the better. What do you say to perfectionists who are like,
Oh.
oh yeah, I want to do that thing, but it has to be so perfect, and then they never end up doing it.
I am a recovering perfectionist, so this is a great topic. Start anyway, because I found myself caught in the self-sabotaging pattern of planning, planning, planning to make it perfect, and then I never started. So, as a perfectionist, you're still feeling like you're contributing and moving things forward by organizing and planning and doing that background work. But until you actually show up and launch the program or put your face out there, show up, go to that event, you're staying stuck. You're protecting yourself from the what you feel might be a failure. So it's going back with we need to be brave and have the courage to show up, to do it, and to embrace, even if it doesn't go as you planned, what can you learn from it? So remove the word failure from your vocabulary because everything is a learning opportunity and just treat it as okay, what can I learn from this first step forward? And by doing those first steps, that's how we build confidence. Because, like you said, Hailey, you're going to show up and like you're going to do it. Maybe it didn't go perfect, but then what is perfect? But you still will be proud of yourself because you did it. And that's the confidence building that we need to start developing. So just showing up, starting before you're ready, taking that first step and letting that propel you forward and giving you the motivation to keep going. Because then you're going to say, oh, well, I did that first step. I showed up or I filmed a reel. Okay, now let's see what this live is all about. Oh, I did a live. Maybe nobody was watching, but I still did it. Let me do another one for longer this time, or let me invite someone on. So it's kind of giving you those proof, I should say, that this is something you can actually do.
Yes. And I find that so many people need that proof to feel confident, but you don't get the proof until you do the thing, right?
Absolutely.
So it could be this cycle of you never starting if you're waiting for that proof. So, what do you say to somebody who is maybe like, oh, I can't be super confident in my business or myself as an entrepreneur because I haven't hit six figures yet or seven figures yet or whatever. And so I don't like earn the right to be confident. Like what, how does somebody navigate
Mhm.
waiting to feel confident whereas they could feel confident now? Like what would be something they could focus on?
One of the tools I love to offer is make a list of all the times in your life where you were maybe afraid to start, or maybe you had a new job and how you felt, and all the steps you took to build your confidence. Even if it's unrelated to what you're currently trying to do, that can serve as proof in your life that you've experienced these kind of firsts, that you've been through it, that you've succeeded, that you've accomplished what you intended to do, and it proves that, hey, if I did it once, I could do it again. If I did it in this other realm, I could also do it in my business. Or if I did it as, for me, if I did it as a dance teacher, I can also do it as a life coach. Right. So, what are those moments where you were maybe hesitant to start, but then you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, let's all think of a first day at a new job. We're not that confident. Maybe we're motivated, we're inspired to start, but the tasks that you're learning, it's going to take time to get them as natural as you would feel confident. So let that be a reminder that confidence is also built over time, and give yourself an opportunity to compound those elements to then make you feel confident in what you're doing. So for
Yeah.
some people, they're maybe confident off the bat. I believe that you can be confident in one area and not so much in another. And that just comes down to your experiences and how you relate to your own confidence in your own way.
Yeah. There's a couple things you mentioned there. One, I work with a lot of moms who have like birthed children and run around all the time taking care of their family. And to me, I'm like, if you have birthed a baby or like dealt with all that you're dealing with, you can do a live. Like you can book a client. Like it's
Yeah.
not hard. Like you've been willing to feel uncomfortable emotions before. This is no different. This is just a different flavor and you can totally do that. So I love the
Yeah.
exercise of looking at what have you done in your life that you're proud of, that makes you feel accomplished, and how can those traits transfer over. And I think the other thing you meant that's important to highlight here is confidence doesn't have to come from a circumstance. So some people say, oh, I'll feel confident when I have X number of testimonials, or I'll feel confident when I have X money in the bank or whatever. And the truth is, you should tie your confidence to your traits, and the traits get you to where you want to go. So honoring your commitment to yourself, like if you make a plan for yourself for the day and you follow it, that is going to build confidence. Or if you have a trait of maybe you, like one of my beliefs I always come back to, and actually this will lead me to my next question for you, is I always figure it out. I'll figure it out, and I don't need to see the whole thing before I make a decision. I just know I always will figure it out. And that is like a very good backbone thought for me that produces confidence. So what would you say is like a backbone thought for you that you come back to, or something that helps you trait wise remind yourself that, hey, even though this is a new skill, or even though I haven't hit the circumstance I want yet, I can feel confident now?
I love that. Mine is similar to yours, Hailey. It's, I'll figure it out. I don't have to know every single step of the plan, just the first one, and the plan will reveal itself along the way. And tied to that would be trusting that it will all work out. And this was a hard one, especially for somebody who likes control, who likes planning, the perfectionist, right? We need to have it all set up for us to then be able to dive in. So just cultivating that trust within that if it's meant to be, it will happen. The steps will reveal themselves, but you have to take that first step. You can't just sit back and then say, okay, plan, reveal yourself to me. You need to take that first step forward. You need to still put in the work, but trusting that you are capable, trusting that you've done the hard things in the past, going back to that list of accomplishments, to what you're proud of. It's if you've done hard things before, this is just another thing you can add to your list. If you've been through things in the past, you can also go through this. So it's kind of reminding yourself of how strong you are, of how resilient you are, of how creative you are when it comes to problem solving. Whatever traits that may be, bring those forward and say, well, hey, look at everything I have in my toolbox. So this is going to help me figure it out along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And I just heard a quote recently. It was like, it's not what if it works, it's I'll make it work. And I think to me, confidence comes from your willingness. And as you said, like your, I'll figure it out, or I've done hard things before, I can do hard things, that kind of thing. So what would you leave our audience with if they're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to say that mantra to myself, but I don't quite yet believe it. And they decided their one small step that they're going to do to start building their confidence. Is there anything else you want to share with them about, how they can start to really prove their own belief that they want to have to themselves?
Absolutely. My question would be, how bad do you want it? What's your intention? What's your purpose? Because the truth is, the things that we really don't want that badly, we're going to find excuses to not do them. So come back to your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation? What is the benefit that you see from this experience that's going to be worth you pushing through? That's going to be worth you getting really out of your comfort zone. For me, that's always helped me. What is my why? Okay, alive, it's uncomfortable, but what's my purpose here? What's my intention? Okay, I want to educate. I want to inspire. I need to get myself out there. Speaking on a stage, or even just starting your business. You don't have to be in the forefront yet, but even the background of like, okay, let's launch my business. That's scary because then you're really putting the message out there. But what is the purpose? It's, well, I want to help. I want to, again, inspire, educate. So coming back to your why and having a clear intention of what it is that you want to do, I feel like that, and keeping that very close, even write it down, put it somewhere where you see it every day. That's your daily reminder of why you're putting yourself out there, quote unquote.
Love it. Yeah, amazing. So where can everybody stay connected with you and find you?
I'm very active on socials. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Duchess Sabrina. That's my dance name, Duchess.
Oh.
Duchess Sabrina. I also have my podcast, Get Into Flow, that you can listen to, streaming on all the major platforms. You can also find me on my website, which is sabrinadelduca.com. So Sabrina, and then Del Duca is DELDUCA. All of my offers and services will be there. And yeah, follow me.
Amazing. Yes, definitely. Thank you for being here. And if you guys are listening to this and you're struggling with your confidence when it comes to your business, obviously reach out to Sabrina. But if you're struggling with your confidence based on, for your business, but also your strategy, like you're just like, I don't know what I should be doing. What's the best use of my time in business? Feel free to reach out. I have loads of free trainings on that and support. So thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.